In Washington, a U.S. Justice Department, they have just walked away from negotiating a settlement that would have paid immigrant families who were separated at the U.S.-Mexico border by the Trump-era zero-tolerance policy. Instead, those representing the families, including the ACLU, will continue a fight in court to get their clients damages by some other means. Niall Stanage, a White House columnist for The Hill, is joining us. Niall, this story was extremely of interest to a lot of people on either side of the issue. This goes all the way back to 2018. Then President Trump, of course, had this policy, and thousands of children were separated from their parents. But what happened next?
Basically, around about 1,000 of those families sued for emotional trauma. Those cases have been going forward in the intervening years. The Trump administration settled at least one of them, but now the Biden administration is trying to decide what to do about these specific cases.
And the specific cases, I mean, in October, we actually had sound bites from President Biden denying that the DOJ was considering payments as high as $450,000 per person. I mean, it wasn't unquestionable, according to that early reporting, to see a family have $1 million settlement, of course, negotiated in court with the DOJ. But what kind of numbers were they really talking about at the end of the day?
I'm not totally clear whether that 450,000 was inaccurate, as the president claimed. After that number was publicized in a media report, the DOJ backed away from making any formal offer. It's my understanding that they did not re-establish any lower number. There is, of course, a whole debate about what exactly are these experiences worth in terms of compensation. But it's worth pointing out, Adrian, because there's a lot of misrepresentation around this. People are entitled to sue irrespective of their immigration status. People who are in the United States and not authorized immigrants can still sue if they believe their rights have been violated.
But the fact that the negotiations for a settlement, first of all, I think this, of course, aroused a lot of different opinions within the Democratic and Republican parties about whether or not this could even be brought to the table. But this walking away from the settlement by the DOJ does not mean that these families are going to end up with nothing. What are we hearing in terms of a trial?
Yeah, that's a really important point, Adrian. The choice here was not the Biden administration unilaterally giving these people money or not. The point is that there are legal cases that have to be resolved in some fashion. Now it would appear that the Department of Justice is not going to settle the cases out of court, so each case will go before the court. And like any other instance where someone is suing for damages, the plaintiff will try to get the maximum amount of money, and the defendant, the Department of Justice in this case, will try to minimize that amount of money.
And I know that there is a lot of sentiment coming from both parties about whether or not, again, this should even be considered and what type of precedent it might set. Niall Stanage, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.